Hi, Mike.
I know more.
How you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
You guys are on.
Okay, we're on and we're recording. Make sure the microphone button there is up. Okay. Well, good evening, and we are ready to start. Ashley, would you call the roll, please?
Mike Kavler,
Here.
Glenn Manson,
Here.
Brittany Hopper,
Here.
Louis Greenwell, not here, Tom Need,
Here.
and Maureen Snowden.
All right. Well, I was aware that neither Maureen nor Louis were going to be able to be here this evening. They told me that last week. And then I wasn't sure exactly what the agenda would include tonight at the time, but I've had conversations with Mike Cannon since, well, earlier in the week, and we decided that one of the things that we should do is probably deal with this non-conforming lot situation. We'll get to that in just a minute. We have no members of the public present other than Mr. Singer, our trustee. I should introduce him because he is a public official for the township. And we have Mike Cannon, who is the zoning director. He's here. And Ashley Zaruba is our assistant for the trustees and for zoning. Since we have no members of the public present, I'm going to assume that we don't have anyone who is here, or maybe if they're on their way, they'll arrive late, but no one to submit an application at this time. So I will just briefly review that in terms of participation. If there's anyone that's joined us online, has anyone joined online, Ashley? No? Well, anytime that we have the public present or online, we simply request that you be recognized before you speak. If you're present in the room, we want you to come to the podium so that you can speak into the microphone, and everyone, if they are participating online, will be able to hear that. Plus, the comments that you make will be recorded because we record these meetings, and it's important for us to have good audio, and that's why we ask you, if you speak and you're present, to go to the podium. That said, we'll go ahead and move forward with the meeting. Since we have no new applications, first item, review of minutes, but let's adjust the agenda for tonight, and we'll go ahead and deal with these other items so that Mike, you won't have to necessarily sit through any discussion that we might have about the minutes, but that's usually pretty brief, but we'll just postpone it temporarily and move on to new business, because the first item is the discussion about the non-conforming lots. As I indicated, Mike and I had a discussion earlier this week, and he's been talking with our new prosecutor about this situation. And rather than me going into any details about that, Mike, I'm going to let you talk to it.
Yeah, after we discussed this a little bit at the last meeting, I got back with Vince, and as you guys know before, it was an issue with Corey with that whole anybody that has a legal non-conforming lot, it doesn't allow them to go in here and ask for the rezoning. Well, after talking with Vince, he has got a totally flip of that. Because when I called him and asked him about it, at first I asked him about the wording. He goes, well, that wording looks fine. He goes, I think you could put that wording in there if you want. He said, but I see it as a non-issue. I said, what do you mean it's a non-issue? And he goes, I see it's a non-issue. He goes, absolutely everybody in your township has the right to ask for a change in zoning. I don't care what they are. I said, okay. And I explained to him what happened, and with the past issue and the lawyer and everything. He said, I don't think it's an issue. He goes, especially if they have what they need to do to accomplish what they're going to do. And I said, well, Vince, we don't deal with lot splits anyway. I go, but that would be the only reason they would. And most everybody comes in and reviews that with me to see if it could be two conforming lots. And he goes, well, especially if it's going to create two legal conforming lots. He goes, they have an absolute right to come in here and ask for zoning. He goes, I don't care. Let them do what they need to do. I said, okay, so I don't even need this. He goes, well, no. He goes, I don't think you do it, but it's up to you guys to put it in there. Then I was also speaking with somebody else that um, he used to work in a regional planning commission up there. He's a consultant now. He does a lot of consulting out there for zoning for all the other townships. And he just happened to mention, he said, and I bounced off him too, just to get another opinion. And he said, you know what, I agree with Vince. He goes, but it doesn't hurt to throw that wording in your zoning just as a CYA.
I wouldn't mind having the wording in there, just in case Vince is no longer the guy we go to and the other guy that we have to go to next goes
Another good
back to
point.
the other way.
Another good point. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with having, you know, that's just a backup for the backup. You know, I just think it's a good call. So I agreed with that. That's why I brought it back to Mike.
So one question about what Vince told you was that any resident can apply for rezoning,
Absolutely. He said there's nothing that restricts them.
granted, but that doesn't mean that we have to recommend it.
No, it doesn't
And
mean,
that's really where we got stuck. They applied for it and we were not allowed to recommend it.
We were told not to
by court.
accept, well, actually, we were told not to move forward with the application.
But the application was still there. So what Vince is saying is true, but it wouldn't get us over the hump of once we get an application, then what do we do?
Vince said, see, this is the part that I guess we could have some discussion about it. He said that as long as they have okay, so they come in and ask for it. Why can't, what are you saying? Well, you can't grant it?
That was it wasn't that the opinion that we got was not that the application couldn't be made, but that we couldn't,
That you couldn't grant it. Well,
we couldn't recommend it.
Vince says this is not of that opinion. Because he says if it comes in and they've got everything they need, you guys he's got everything he needs to accomplish that through you guys, then we're good to go.
Whether or not it's non-conforming or not to start with.
Exactly.
And that was the opinion, the exact opposite of the opinion,
Yes.
that since it was non-conforming, we could not deal with it.
And it was, and I just,
Before Corey, we used to do it.
yes.
Yes.
And I did discuss that with Vince that, hey, your previous person didn't believe that. And he goes, well,
Yeah.
opinions
Well,
vary.
Miss-
Putting it in will just cover us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No
think-
matter- No matter
right.
who our attorney is there. Or
And,
prosecutor's office.
Bob, the language that we're talking about, I don't know if you've seen the wording, but there's just one sentence. So that we would be adding it in section 2405, non-conforming lots. And it states, the new language states, legal non-conforming lots having less than 300 feet of road frontage, but not less than 235 feet of road frontage, can request to be rezoned to FR1.
I recall the meeting. The only point I would make is I would recommend having Vince's opinion in writing and make that part of the record in case a new prosecutor, assistant prosecutor.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that I thought that we could do is if you're hearing the discussion, if we're going to make a recommendation to move forward in terms of adopting this language and scheduling a hearing, submit it to Vince and say that, we are planning to move forward to adopt this, and it's our understanding that based on this, an application comes in, it is legal for us to continue to move forward in terms of receiving the application and acting on it, either to approve or deny. Or make the recommendation to the trustees to approve or deny. And then that way we'll get a response back from Vince in writing. Because the trustees were the ones who got the recommendation before. You weren't on then. So it was in that interim where you were off, okay, because I couldn't remember the exact timing of that. And at first, we were going to move it forward, and then legal counsel advised the trustees, no, don't do it. So you didn't. And the applicant withdrew the application. Because we had acted upon it. So,
Looked good to me.
all right, so, well, how do you want to deal with this? Do you want to go ahead and, bring this process forward? We could, we could deal with it at our, at the first meeting in April.
Hearing coming up on the
If you want, if you wanted to go ahead and move this forward, we could go ahead and, set a hearing.
To do it on the
Yeah,
30th?
yeah.
Can we just add it to the hearings on the 30th?
Yeah, it would be 21 days.
Just
So-
enough. Just enough.
Yeah. It's more than 20.
Yep.
Because it's 21 days. So this would be another item to be added to that hearing. But you would have to post it separately since obviously, have you done the other posting or not? Oh, yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
I haven't looked for it, but you said you were going to do it, so I assumed you probably had. So this would be one then that you would have to put it up there separately. Okay. So let's have a formal motion to that effect.
Well, before we get to that,
I'm sorry.
I've got one question about.
Oh, okay, sure. You want
Um,
to change some wording?
When you.
Go ahead.
When you sent out your email, I think I have in here. I don't know where I have it. Where's your email? No, here it is. So you said, about the issue of approving a change in zoning from AR1 to FR1 when the lot is less than 300 feet of frontage. So you made that very clear in your email to us about this. There's nothing in here that says non-conforming lots zoned AR1.
Oh, I
And-
see what you're saying. yeah.
And having less than 300 feet of road frontage. Is there any other zoning district where that 300 feet of road frontage would be?
Applicable,
Yeah, I don't think
No.
so. It's only AR1.
only AR1.
So you could take it as kind of assumed, but I would put that in.
You're right. That's a good point. There's nothing wrong with being more specific.
Yeah, so we would modify
Yeah.
this.
So I have legal non-conforming lots, comma, zoned AR1.
Can't we just call it non-conforming AR1 lots? Legal
Isn't-
non-conforming AR1 lots. Then you don't need
What if
the,
they're already, no, if they're already FR1, then it's not an issue, sorry.
Yeah.
Forget that.
oh, just legal non-conforming AR1 lots.
What's wrong with just saying zoned AR1?
Yeah,
Is that,
legal non-conforming AR1 lots having less than. Okay. Insert that there. Tom's that get that added? Adequately AR1 lots having less than 300 feet of road frontage, but not less than 235 feet of road frontage, can request to be rezoned to FR1. Good?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
But not this. I think we bracketed, we say less than 300, but more than 235. And those are the numbers that we agreed on,
Mhm.
that you could still,
That's the minimum amount you would need to make a split.
that you'd have a conforming FR1 and a flag FR1 side by side. And I like, can request to be rezoned. Doesn't mean they're gonna get rezoned.
Yes, they
If
can
something
request.
else-
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Can apply to be rezoned. Let's just leave it.
Okay.
Just leave it.
So that would be one change. And is it possible then, actually for you to stick that in to the document? Okay, and then we would then have to submit this one up. Forward this one to regional planning as well, since they have you probably already sent the other ones. Yeah, so this is one more to send. Okay. So with
I'll
that
make a-
discussion, we've discussed it at this point, but we
Yeah.
don't have a motion on the
The
floor.
motion to add the sentence legal non-conforming AR1 lots having less than 300 feet of road frontage, but not less than 235 feet of road frontage can request to be rezoned to FR1 to section 24.05 non-conforming lots.
All right. And a second,
I'll second it.
seconded by Tom. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
If you
And
need a
now,
motion to add it to make a hearing.
yes,
date?
now we need to set the hearing date for it, correct?
Okay, I will make a motion to set the hearing date for the change to section 24.05 non-conforming lots to March 30th.
And we're starting the meeting at 7.
7:15.
7:05.
7:05, yeah, there you go, Tom.
At
I like
7:05.
it.
7:05, since we're adding it separately, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
What is the application number?
the application to 02, 2602.
This
The first one is
HB
2601.
Yep.
The 2602.
I've got the form if we need to write it down though, otherwise you're gonna do it.
Got it, Brenda?
Okay. So it's application HTCC 2602 set with the hearing date set for March 30 at 7:05 PM. Moved by Joni, seconded by Tom. Correct, Joni?
Correct.
Correct, Tom? Okay. All right, the motion's on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no? Okay. So that's set, Mike. We'll deal with that along with the other items. All right, the other item that I have here under new business is development of language for zoning resolution to regulate data centers. That has become, I guess, an issue of more urgent kind of situation than we necessarily were anticipating, because Mike has now had a request about this. And Mike, I'll turn it back to you again.
Yeah, I got a call from a company that just called and was asking about the resolution and want to know where the resolution was. And I asked him, well, what do you want to know? Maybe I can help you with it. So she started asking about AR1. And then I kind of got a little farther into it. And then she finally said, well, here's what I'm doing. I'm researching for somebody that is looking for a data center in Harlan Township. And I told her then, I said, well, AR1's probably not, it is the section you want to look in, but not the AR1 down there. I said, we have a certain section up in the northwest corner that is designated for more industrial that might be able to put a building like that in. I said, but right now they don't have enough power or water out there to support something like that. I said, but that's where it would be. So based on that and the fact that we had just talked about it, the trustee meeting right before that, I thought we better get on the horse and get something put in here to decide what size of, if anything, is going to be put in Harlan Township. And I don't know how we would regulate that, or I don't want to use the word restrict because it's not really restrict, but put in there what we'd want to see.
What we had been advised, or I remember Holly making the comment, is that we can't exclude it. Just can't say no data centers anywhere. But there are restrictions, if you will, that can be placed upon or put in zoning that would make in terms of data centers, then there would be limitations that would help to control it so that it wouldn't necessarily lead to multiple data centers. In fact, I guess we can even have, I wrote that down as one of the options. We can say we're only going to allow for one in the whole township.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to discuss that, but you and I are meeting with Holly to
Yeah.
talk about that stuff too. So
And I made this list of items only because I wanted to hear,
yeah,
let other people think, get any comments about this.
So there was an article in the Dispatch on Sunday that West Jeff has joined a growing list of Central Ohio communities opposing the development and construction and operation of large-scale data center facilities. And they have added that to their zoning.
What did they add?
See, I don't have the exact language yet. Well, there's a section quoted to discourage and restrict data center development that is inconsistent with the village's comprehensive planning objectives and community priorities. Is what the dispatch published
Yeah.
as coming out of their zoning.
Well, as Mike, excuse me, as Mike just mentioned, because of communications that he had and I had with the trustees about this, it was suggested that then we would have a video conference or a virtual meeting with Holly, Mike and I, talking with her about this. And I don't know if that's going to then kind of move forward in the sense of we're going to get potential recommendations about how to address it. I got a message back from trustee Trainer indicating, that Holly is under contract to July, so that this could potentially be something that she may then be asked to work on. I mean, that's something that I'm not suggesting that it's already decided because I don't know. But it would be something that's going to be an item that will come up for discussion, I think, at the next trustee meeting. And that's why we're having that meeting, virtual meeting on Wednesday to talk about this in general.
The article also stated that Washington Township and Jerome Township, among others, Washington Township and Franklin County and Jerome Township and Union County have both passed moratoriums, temporary moratoriums on data centers of at least 90 days. And if that would give us time to get this written into it, we could ask the trustees to consider that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, we're having a trustee meeting next Wednesday. And the idea, if we are going to move forward to deal with trying to put something in place to address it, these are I came up with this list of areas where we could try to address. First, of course, you define what it is, define what a data center is. There's my understanding is that there are 40 data centers in this immediate region right now. 40.
I believe Sunbury just passed another one to be up in that section in Trenton Township.
Well, they've got zoning that will allow for it, but they haven't acted on that change in zoning yet. Apparently, I'm not sure exactly if it's a change in zoning or just a request to get it approved under zoning. When did they move that forward to?
I thought
Because
it
they
was
were
for their
going to
next
meet
meeting.
last week
Yeah.
and then they didn't.
And I don't know when their next meeting is.
I think it was moved forward to the next month, their next meeting, which is probably, I'll have to look to see, but it's the zoning commission there in Sunbury that was dealing with it.
Mike,
Yeah.
do you know what the parcel numbers, correct parcel numbers are for those 4 parcels?
Up there?
Yeah.
I do not.
Because that, I think what I read was that there was a mistake in the.
Yeah, that's what was in the paper.
Oh, is that right?
And one of the parcel numbers was wrong, and so they had to start all over again because what they had notified. I just wanted to know what the correct parcel numbers were, so I could find them on the stinking map, how close they are to, is it south of Vans Valley, right up against Trenton Road?
I thought it was right along Vans Valley, but I don't know how far up.
Yeah, I'd like to,
Yeah, I know the general area, but I don't know the parcel numbers or anything like that.
could you
I can
call
look
them?
into that, yeah.
I mean, maybe they're just
I can call up and ask them.
one zoning director to another.
Well, I mean, it's gotta be public record anyway.
Well, obviously they've got it in their zoning already that will allow it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they have a problem with it. I think their residents have a real problem with it because they're trying to get.
Yeah,
There were
Or
a lot of them who showed up at the meeting.
We do have a problem with that.
There's one of them.
well, you're a resident of Sunbury.
Yes.
At this point, it is to allow potential data center. It's a change of zoning to allow, there is not a data center that is looking to go in at this point. it would change the zoning so that if a data center were to apply, they would be able to do so.
Amazon's a data center planned for up there, is it not? Or did that change?
Or is it just a warehouse?
Well, Amazon is already,
I
thought
think
it was
it's,
a
I think it's
data center.
AWS. I think it's
It's a different-
a data center.
So maybe then that's two different ones.
And if they're talking about 4 specific parcels, somebody's got to have an idea. That's where I want to put it, not just a general. We can,
Well, and they're looking at, I believe, on the one up in Sunbury, they're also I don't know, they must be gonna put up, they're talking about generating their own power.
Mm-hmm.
So are they putting up solar panels to do that?
I heard
They were gonna do-
nuclear.
It was huge. How many acres? I forget now how much it was, but
It was a very large number.
it was like, I don't remember, but to me, my recollection is it was over 100 acres
Yeah.
for this data
It
center.
was well over 100. It was a large number.
Yeah, it was very large. It wasn't just the data center itself. They needed the other property for
Yeah.
creating the power that they're going to use.
Which was the other thing that woman said to me when she called. They were looking for land to put some kind of a power plant.
Yeah, I'm not.
Or the data center,
clear
too.
to-
Because I believe they're going to have to start supplying their own power, which would be good if you got to have
Well,
them.
One of the items that's on this list says minimum lot size. That what I was reading was that they're talking about making the lot size large, minimum lot, in order to have a data center. Once you've defined what the data center is, then you have a lot size requirement in your zoning regulations that it would be very large.
Yeah, and I would think being a data center and the potential noise that coming off of there, that we would have a lot larger buffers everywhere too. I mean, that's going to be stuff Holly will tell us and we'll get into.
When we're talking about 40 data centers in this area, they've got to be smaller ones than what we're talking about here. I think, you don't consider, we wouldn't consider a bank of computers for a business that has to have, that they're operating, that would not be a data center.
No. Talking about a building like, I mean, New Albany's got one right there on New Albany Road
Edge.
and it's not that big. Yes, edged. And it's not that big.
I don't know how much noise it makes, but that's apparently a concern about these data centers.
Well, there are some of them, and it depends on how they cool the systems too, because some of them went to cooling them by wind turbines, and I guess those are really loud because they're huge fans just running. So I could see that being an issue.
Some of
Right.
them now are enclosed water systems. They're not even using quite as much water.
I know they try to do a lot of recycling, but at some point it makes that water very unstable and they've got to purify it and put it back into your creek or your lake or whatever you want to put it into, and it mixes in there and it's okay for consumption. But
Well, if we are going to move forward, which of the items, I'm just going to ask you for some general kind of feedback here. But in terms of, if we decide that we're going to create this, and maybe we get the moratorium for 90 days, which I think we should. That would allow us the time, because then
90 days.
they can't rush in here and
All to take us.
get something done before we have something in place. But would you be in favor of establishing a minimum lot size, a large minimum lot size? And if so, how big would it be? 50 acres, 100 acres,
It's gonna depend on
200 acres?
on the size of the data center.
yeah, I think you're right. And I think those would be that's going to be more the in the weeds stuff that Holly's going to bring us.
Oh, yeah,
I would
it is.
think. But I definitely think we would want to restrict the height. We would restrict the size of the building, and we'd also want to put something in there about noise. Even though we don't have a noise.
No, noise standards, yes.
We have noise standards in some of the articles we created, like you can't be heard at the property line or
Yeah,
something
and
like
that's,
that.
that's the way this would be structured as well, so many decibels, cannot at the
Yeah.
property
I
line.
think our standard.
That's
is
why
like
the lot
3.
would have to be potentially need to be large. And then setbacks is another factor.
It's a huge
You're
factor.
gonna
I
have
think.
this data, a large data. We're not talking about small facilities here. That's why I said if we
Yeah, these are
define
big.
it, I mean, that would be the first step, having a definition. Of course, right now, obviously, we don't have a definition for data center in our zoning. So that means currently our zoning would prohibit data centers, but you can't prohibit them.
Well, there is the county line road that allows data centers, but it can't be implemented unless you have sewer, and we don't
Well-
have sewer yet.
There was some talk in the air for a while there that to get those kind of businesses in these areas that are farther away, that they were going to let them not have sewer, but they'd have holding tanks that they had to empty every so often.
Who's
No,
they?
no, 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 no,
Who's
no.
they?
And
Oh, yeah,
Oh, Delaware
Yeah.
County.
definitely.
But our,
And
and the
I mean, our
EPA,
zoning resolution clearly states that sewer is required for that type of overlay.
But I don't know
I don't
that,
know how that-
I don't know that it necessarily prohibits an on-site treatment facility.
Not to find that, I just read it, now I
I don't know.
I gotta go back and find where it was.
But I think their
but
big hindrance right now is electricity. They're not going to be able to get the power for it up there unless they bring their own.
Right.
I would like to say no nuclear too, in
Do you think that we should
my
limit it?
opinion.
I mean, I'm bringing up this discussion now because obviously it's going to be coming in greater detail than what we're going to do tonight. But should we consider limiting to, if we're going to have a large data center and permit it, that they would be limited to one in the township?
Oh, yeah. We do not want to be known as the data centers and the place to build data centers.
But we're already known as, what are they calling us? Something, we're not, as, Silicon, we're not the Silicon Valley, but we're Silicon something.
Heartland.
Heartland, that was
That's
it.
Licking County.
Yeah, we're Silicon Heartland.
That's Licking County.
Wait,
That's
so-
not
So
Harlan
you
Township.
can't restrict data centers, but you can restrict how many you have?
You see, I mean,
And ban them, so you can't have any.
And why
When I
can't you?
mentioned this before, I was told that because it's not listed as an approved use, it would not be an approved use. But apparently, your guys are telling me that's not the way it works.
It's listed.
But
as
that
an
is
approved
exactly
use.
what you guys have told me before.
No, it's listed as an approved
Approved
use in
use.
the county line road.
Yeah, I know.
overlay.
I kind of objected to that one too, but
Is data center actually listed there? 'Cause I don't.
Oh, yeah, it is clearly stated.
yeah, I wasn't
But
happy.
Joni, you're referring to when we didn't clearly state it in that it's not permitted in some of the other articles we were working on. So it's assumed it's not permitted because it's not listed as a.
Well, but we
Uh,
could limit it and say it can only be in this one zoning district.
Well, that's kind of how it is at this point.
Well,
Sort of.
but if we're gonna move it to the northwest Trenton area,
You're saying northeast, I think.
This is
northeast Trenton?
northeast.
Northeast, yes.
Northeast
Oh.
corner.
Okay,
And it does say, yeah, you're right, Mike. It does say something about trustees can allow them
On site,
on site
Yeah.
sewer. But once sewer comes, they have to tie in.
Yes.
So we have I think in industrial zoning, it allows adult entertainment. It's the only place in the township that allows, it doesn't say how many. It says it's gotta be a certain distance from schools and churches.
but
I think
that
we're-
district is teeny tiny.
But I think we're gonna see the same sort of restrictions on our ability to restrict these by saying you can't put a number on it. You can limit it in terms of where it goes, but I don't think we can put a number on it. We'll see. I mean,
well, I mean, in the sense of saying just one in the township. I don't know
we'll see what
whether Ohio law would permit it. I don't know.
and whether case law would permit it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, my other question would be, would you propose to remove it from the county line road overlay and make it its own thing? Whether it's a,
That's a question I've already put forward is, do we want to create the description and what the limitations are and the requirements, et cetera, and put that into an existing article, or do we write an article specific that is just to data centers and have all the requirements for a data center in a separate article?
Well, we can
We have to
say,
determine the location too.
yeah. I mean,
Yes, it could specify the location, yes.
It's got to be within a certain distance of a state route. That would be 37, but it would also be 605. So, and it would be 62, even though 62 is not in the township, that would, if we're saying, how would you limit its location? You say it's got to be on a state highway. Directly on a state highway.
Well, we're gonna be exploring all that with all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know how you do that unless you're talking about laying down a certain mileage, but I mean, I think we'd have to have some logic and reason behind that. I mean, we can speak to trying to keep something from a certain height and trying to say you can only put this big a building on this amount of land, because that all goes to visibility and noise but I don't know, Tom. I mean, these are all things we can explore when we talk to Holly. I mean,
I haven't looked at any zoning ordinances relating specifically to data centers. So I don't know what that's already out there specifically, but these are some areas that have been identified as areas that on that list that I gave you.
yeah.
Where you can set up restrictions that would impact the data center and allow you to control the data center, where it would go, and the functionality of it, and all those factors. And then that makes it, well, people will want to do these, but then they look at what your requirements are. Maybe they'll say, well, we go someplace else where there aren't so many requirements.
Well, they'll fight you.
Yeah. Or if it's next door, where they could potentially have the property annexed next door and do it, then maybe it still becomes a problem for us.
So I would be concerned with a property like Mount Harlem, that because of its proximity to other counties and other jurisdictions, they would just annex in a heartbeat, build whatever they wanted, because it's,
Well, we haven't heard anything yet, but I think that's a foregone conclusion.
but whether it's going to be
Oh, I think Mount Harlem is
a data center,
either it's
or
already purchased or it's somebody's got a handshake deal on it. I think we've lost Mount Harlem. That's just my opinion. But I agree with you. Something like that's sitting out there that close to it down there. And that's really the whole reason that we kind of pushed in the industrial up in that corner. Was there a larger expanse of acreage up there than there is down there? Because we got a lot of houses down there. That's about the only spots you're going to get a large expanse that could take a data center
or large warehouses.
or large warehousing. Yeah. Which is why we kept the heights down. And I mean,
Right now, we've saying that it's permitted in CLRB and CLRC. And CLRA, it's not identified as permitted there. CLRA is the one that's up that touches 36, 37. CLRB is down here, and then CLRC is even further south, right?
In fact, it's
yeah, A is the farthest north, right?
A is the farthest north.
Yeah, that's where,
No. C is the farthest north,
C is,
right?
oh, that shows Duncan
This is-
Plains Road and
C.
county line. Duncan
C.
Plains Road is up there by.
Yeah, the
no, this is the middle of the corner.
because I remember that little piece got added to the west that I was very against, but unfortunately wasn't here to vote.
I'm thinking of Duncan Plains as, no, I'm wrong. I'm thinking of the wrong road, aren't I? Yeah. Duncan Plains is over here.
mhm.
Here's Roberts.
Yeah.
Middle of the township.
So it's the other way. It's
No,
C is the highest.
that's A.
Yeah.
And then B starts,
It goes.
B
it
includes
actually
Center
goes
Village Road.
CAB for whatever reason. No, I take that back. It goes
That's-
CBA.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
I know, I was like, that wouldn't make.
That's the way
do we have one that?
planning
shows all
committee
three of
went
them?
up, they
Yeah.
went from low to high, so
Yeah.
that would make sense.
So we can see exactly how they're related. So B would include Center Village Road, so we're talking about it's right down here. Over
Right.
by,
Well, yeah, over at the
over by
gateway.
county line, yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's,
like that big area between Center Village and Montgomery.
yeah. So that's, and then it's also in C, which Montgomery Road, so it goes north of Montgomery Road. So none of those are on a state route over there, Tom.
No, but this,
37.
Just 37 when they get
You
there.
go up on C, but, and it is permitted in C. So there's 37. I was thinking this was 37, but that's Duncan Plains. Comes across at the same angle. Okay. And Duncan Plains,
that's right
this
here.
comes down here, Center Village connects there, right? Basically. Because when you go down Center Village and it dead ends at the county line, you can go straight onto Duncan Plains. But it's in both B and C. So it starts at the north and then comes south. So it is up there by 37 where, does this, no, we don't, this particular area does not abut Sunbury, does it?
No, not yet. That's Trenton up there, correct?
Yeah, Trenton's right across the road.
From us, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless somebody keeps moving out.
What do we know about the development of?
So our
Route
planned
37?
industrial district though is on the west side of Trenton. It's this red part.
Hmm.
Our,
No, the west side's mixed use.
yeah, okay.
It's mixed
That's
use.
the overlay.
It's a mixed use overlay.
It's,
This-
it's,
It's a planned commercial.
it wasn't
basically.
Yeah,
added
it is
to the
planned
county
commercial.
line though.
No,
No, it doesn't connect.
that's
No.
not the mixed use. That's the like clustered residential, isn't it? CRCD,
Mixed
nope, I
use.
take it back. Ah, the MSBR.
So right now,
No, that's
Nope.
I guess that's the only, well, then we've got the industrial, we have an industrial district, but we haven't specified where that is. Well, I think that might be
The regular industrial?
an issue that we should address.
But we have regular industrial zoning.
That's what I mean, straight industrial.
We do have that listed, limited.
But I think the point that Mike was making is it doesn't apply to
It's not
any parcels.
not
Right.
designated in a certain area. It's just, yes, that's a basic zoning you can request. But to this day, I
Yeah,
don't think
just
we
like
have
they,
any.
the guy down there, that was south of Fancher requested the industrial and we told him no.
Yes.
Well, technically, we didn't tell him no. He got upset and left before we made the decision.
Yeah, I think he pulled out. We were basically moving to let him know that it wasn't.
Yes.
Gonna be approved essentially.
You're nudging him along.
Doing it, all right.
Nope.
And then we've got the planned industrial. As an option,
Mm-hmm.
which is not an overlay.
Hmm.
That's a reason.
Yeah, so we have to check that. And think of that in terms of, well, that, is that someplace where they could put a data center? And you, I mean, under that zoning, planned industrial? Right now, I'm not sure, because I haven't looked to see.
They could request it based on that, but I mean, basically our fallback on anything, and definitely when I'm talking to people, is we have a planned area designated for an industrial. That's up there. I don't think that, and really anybody with anything of any size in an industrial area there's not a whole lot of ground down there still wide open to look at that for. I mean, you got developers down there that already own property. Then you got some people that wouldn't sell to an industrial. I know that. So I think our weak spots up there on the northwest or northeast. I keep saying northeast.
Northeast corner of the
Northeast corner
township,
of the township. Yeah, then on an industrial area.
county line and 37.
Land 37.
Well, and that's where we had early on identified the area to be for what zoned industrial.
Mm-hmm.
Previous to the current comprehensive plan, there was an area up there designated as an area for industrial. Small, but it was still an area, and it was on 36, 37, or on 37. So. Well, as we move forward with this, I think one of the things that I've heard here tonight, which I like the idea, is trying to maybe seek a moratorium. And I'm just gonna, not that you can make a decision, Mr. Singer, but what do you think about the trustees' consideration of a moratorium on data centers?
Well, I mean, everybody's throwing their hat in for 90-day moratorium. Pete Griggs was the attorney for Jerome Township that basically banned them and then had to reverse themselves. And 2 of them, at this point, 2 out of 4 were approved. But see, as Mike pointed out, we don't have water, we don't have electric, we don't have large fiber. So I'm not saying at some point in the future that a data center couldn't be built, but it's not going to be, I don't see it in the near future.
Yeah, water is a bigger issue.
1,000,000
potentially.
gallons.
The power, they're gonna do their own power.
Well,
If they want to make that investment, we don't have fiber that large in that area, so that would have to be brought in. I just think there may be easier pickings at this point, and I think the idea of having Holly get involved and do some of the research.
Well, that is,
Understand.
and I don't know where we'll go next, but we're having at least initial discussion, at least with her on
Yeah.
Wednesday.
But I think she'll have a lot of that information there for us. But one thing we need to remember on the data centers is a 5-year wait time for a data center that's almost table stakes right now because of everything they have to do to get ready for it. We had somebody looking a long time ago at a data center up in that area, and we told them at that time you were probably looking at least 5, if not closer to 10 years, and they didn't bat an eye at that. They said because there's a lot of stuff they have to do on that ground to get it ready for those data centers. So I think hoping that it's so far out that right now we're at risk I think that's wishful thinking. I think we need to at least do something because we don't want to get caught. I'd rather plan for it and fail and to have anybody come in than plan to fail and us be talking bad about ourselves.
Well, yeah.
We
I mean,
don't.
since we're saying for right now, anyway, we've identified data centers as an option in the county line district as an overlay. So it's permitted there right now,
And I hate.
but
to
we
see
don't
that.
have any guidelines or data or criteria to govern a data center.
Yeah,
We don't even have a definition for a data center.
we don't. And that's something and I don't know if we would. That's a good question for Holly, because since we do have it listed in that overlay up there, I mean, could somebody come in, grab that overlay and say, these are the guidelines? Because those are the guidelines that,
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, exactly what I was thinking, that we need to redo that overlay.
Right.
as long as the trustees allow them to use sewer or,
not sewer.
septic
Well, even
Some-
5 years from now, if that overlay's in there we are.
Yep.
And like I said, those people that we talked to did not even bat an eye at 5 to 10 years. They're looking for ground.
And I agree with Joni that the language in the planned industrial district is vague enough that a data center could be permitted
Mhm.
in using that zoning.
So we may want to address that language. Or if we have, I don't know, we can address that with Holly too. You know, if we create a separate article for data centers, is that an option? And would that then mean we could specify in that article the locations where they could be or what zoning districts they would be permitted in?
I think you'd probably have to remove the like the verbiage to allow them in other districts then if we wanna
Yeah,
limit that.
yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna have a separate article, you don't need them to be in other articles.
Yeah.
Only by, like right now, it's only mentioned, I haven't looked, but I don't think there's any details of any kind talking about data centers
Details of it,
in that county line overlay, other than using that verb or the terminology, verbiage.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, it does not address any of this other stuff.
No,
And our procedures for doing it also do not address all of
Don't
that.
address these, right?
So, yeah. It
Gotta
should
do
be a
something.
separate,
If that's
Article.
possible, maybe that's the, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like maybe that would be the simpler way to address it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big issue.
Well, it is, and we have to, like you said, we have to address it. We've got to get a little more descriptive in what we want, and we got to make sure that there's not any loopholes anywhere else, such as our overlay.
I think the overlay, the development standards are a little bit looser than maybe we would apply to a data center. So I don't know if we
the
really want to
development
keep it in there.
yeah, none of the development standards even address something the size of a data center.
Well, I personally, and I don't know about other folks, I mean, I never really thought much about data centers until the last few weeks. It's become
Because
a much bigger, hotter
Yeah.
topic.
starting to come out of just how bad it is in terms of
That's what I
noise
mean,
and
yeah.
water and electric and just,
All the problems
you
associated
know,
with it.
and people hating it, you know. Don't need to give our residents one more
Yeah.
reason to hate
And
them.
what I'm saying now is not in my backyard.
That's for sure.
Well, and that's what we'll run into with the public, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're not gonna really resolve anything, but I wanted to make sure that it was on the table and people were aware of it. And as Mike said, we will be meeting with Holly, and then potentially we'll see where we go with that in terms of what recommendation we will make to the trustees the following week.
Yeah, and we got some,
Bob, did you have your hand up over there?
If it was not included in an overlay district, but let's say a PID, even though it's a 35% referendum, it still could be referendum.
if it
Yes,
wasn't,
if
if it wasn't in
right.
an overlay, yes,
Correct, so.
which is what we're
it
talking.
Wasn't allowed in an,
Right now, it's
Right
is,
now, it's in an overlay is the problem.
well, yeah, no, I agree.
so. Yeah. If it, if it were a planned industrial district. In that, they would apply that way. And it would end up getting approved. That's referendable.
But I think we've all talked a lot about how difficult it would be to get that 35 to even do a referendum.
Well.
I mean, you might get more
With the
support on
data
something like
center,
that.
Yeah,
But-
might get it.
These
You know,
things will get real busy.
It's
real
still,
fast.
I don't want to count on a referendum to save us. I'd rather have the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
zoning.
Well,
We need to have,
Yeah,
we definitely, wherever it ends up, we're deciding wherever we end up putting it, we still have to have the zoning restrictions because it may end up being approved. And then the process would move forward.
Yeah, we just
We're
need to make
talking about,
sure.
it may be 10 years from now.
Yeah, but it's gotta be something we
But
can
thinking
live
about
with.
the future.
If worst case scenario happens, it's gotta be something we can live with. So
Yeah.
we need to get the buffers in there. We need to plan for the worst case scenario. And like I said, the referendum thing, I bet you they jack it up past 35 next year. I bet it's gonna be 45. They're gonna get rid of that eventually.
Well, that was a big jump from 8 to 35.
Well, it went 8 and then last year it popped to 16 and then it popped to 35. So they've been bumping it up every
I'm
year.
gonna count those.
Well, I guess it'll stick at 35 maybe until such time as it happens in a township somewhere and the people are, they are successful in getting it
Yeah.
on the ballot and defeating it
Then the state will do something.
because they meet the 35-cent criteria. Then the legislature will bump it up higher or eliminate it altogether.
Yep.
They could eliminate it altogether.
They
They
could.
talked about it.
They did talk about it
I
last
think
time.
they got a lot of negative feedback on that.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, thank you, Mike.
No problem. Thanks for listening to me.
You.
Getting the input in there.
Well, you're most welcome. And we will get that process moving forward with the non-conforming lot. Yes, don't have the hearing.
Yes, we need to get that information.
Got that scheduled.
When you give it to me, I'll fire it up to Vince.
Yeah, and I'm going to I'll create an email to send up to him.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have them all if you.
Well, she's going to update the language. It's just one little minor change. That's all it is. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Now, review of minutes.
So I wanted to ask on the second page, there's some red and strikeout still. Is that intentional? Or-
Yes,
Okay,
because it shows what you guys changed. I know the red
Okay.
strikeouts are usually your edits that you make, but those ones were like the
Okay.
strikeouts that you guys did during the meeting.
so I think I might have made a mistake then in an update. Cause after barn, I took out the N, like an accessory structure and I made it A. Do we want to leave that as an then, or? I know
No,
this is like
It's
very
gonna be a
unnecessary.
Structure.
Okay. I thought
Because
the,
accessories going away.
okay, that's fine. Then,
Just to make sure that I'm understanding, it reads barn definition, a structure.
yeah,
That's the way it's going to read, and that's what you wanted, right, Jody? I mean, switch then, yes.
Whatever.
Before it said
That's
E,
Tom had recommended we
because
take
it
it.
was accessory, yeah, so
Right.
once we took that away, I just don't think it edited that out.
Right.
so the red that's left in here is just the things we changed, is
Yeah.
that, I got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I also almost edited them to be black and unscratched out because I'm used to that being your guys' edits.
Yeah.
Like the strikeouts in the red, so I almost went through and corrected that.
I don't know, yeah, sometimes it appears as red when I do it online, and other times it doesn't. I'm not sure why.
It's red, sometimes it's blue, it depends on who does it and when they do it.
That's because you have to set it to track changes
Yeah,
before
you
you start
Track
reviewing.
everybody.
So I got to this too late to get just a couple of small things. On the first page in the heading, zoning commission should be regular meeting minutes.
I thought that, yeah.
Then third paragraph from the bottom of the first page. That at the last zoning meeting, he didn't feel that we had reached a conclusion, I think.
Where
All right, Tom, you said
From
third
the
paragraph from the
third.
bottom on page 1?
Yeah. He didn't feel that we had reached a conclusion. I think the word we is missing.
Yeah,
How mean thing.
Oh, I got you.
yeah.
The word we
I
is
changed
missing.
a whole bunch of these to we's because it was.
And the variance is $500. I mean, it says 500. I remember
Yeah.
something different, but. So, and then on the last page. On page 9. the end of the second paragraph, Mr. Sanders should be capitalized.
Oh, I usually catch them too.
Let's see, you said the last page?
Page 9. Second paragraph, last line, way on the left.
Capital S for Mr. Sanders.
Last line.
Believe-
way
Oh, right there. Yeah, I found it. Yep.
Anything else?
Okay, a motion to approve these minutes then as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Joni to approve workshop minutes from, I'm sorry, these are not workshop, these are regular meeting minutes.
Second.
And seconded by Brittany. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye, opposed, no. Minutes are approved as corrected. Okay, the last item under old business was the scheduled hearing date, which we actually already talked about that. I wanted to make sure, reminded everybody that meeting's at 7 p.m. Or the hearing starts at 7 p.m. rather than our usual 7:30. And then we set the second hearing on the new article, change in article on non-conforming lots, application 2602 at 7:05. So we'll have them all that evening. Whether there's the only other thing, since we're holding the meeting, if I don't think we'll have anybody showing up for a request to change zoning at that time, and I'm not trying to encourage it at all, certainly. And then we only have another week until we have a regular meeting the following Monday anyway, so. I'm not at this time, I'm looking at not expecting to have anything on the agenda for that evening except the hearings. And this could mean that it'll be a relatively short night, depending upon discussion on the articles that we have before us. And then we'll make a recommendation on those to either move them forward to the trustees or we'll be holding them up again to make some additional changes. Okay, I have nothing further. Any other business that needs to be brought up for the commission tonight? All right, hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
Make
You
a
gonna make
mo-
it,
I
Ben?
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Maureen made that for you last night.
Do that. Joni seconded.
Yes, moved by Brittany, seconded by Joni. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
all right.
Okay, we are adjourned.